A beggar had been sitting by the side of a road for over 30 years. One day a stranger walked by. "Spare some change?" mumbled the beggar mechanically, holding out his old baseball cap.
"I have nothing to give you,"
said the stranger. "Dene asked."
"What's that you are sitting on?"
"Nothing, just an old box,"
replied the beggar.
"Just an old box. I have been sitting on it for as long as I can remember."
"Have you ever looked inside?"
asked the stranger.
"No,"
said the beggar.
"What's that point?"
"There's nothing in there."
"Have a look inside?"
insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid. With astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. "I am that stranger who has nothing to give you and who is telling you to look inside. Not inside any box that is in the parable, but somewhere even closer inside yourself. But I am not a beggar, I can hear you say. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiant joy of being and the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars, even if they have great material wealth. They are looking outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all those things, but is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. The mind is a superb instrument, if used rightly. Used wrongly, however, it becomes very destructive. To put it more accurately, it is not so much that you use your mind wrongly. You usually don't use it at all. It uses you. This is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. This is the delusion. The instrument has taken you over. I don't quite agree. It is true that I do a lot of aimless thinking, like most people, but I can still choose to use my mind to get and accomplish things, and I do that all the time.
I'm almost losing my mind because I don't catch you up what you mean as well. You mean stop thinking altogether?
No, I can't, except maybe for a moment or two. Then the mind is using you. You are unconsciously identified with it, so you don't even know that. You are its slave. It's almost as if you were possessed, without knowing it, and so you take the possessing Antitit over yours. The beginning of freedom is the realization that you are not possessing the entity. Knowing this enables you to observe the entity. The moment you start watching the thinker, a higher level of consciousness becomes activated. You then begin to realize that there is a vast realm of intelligence beyond thought. That thought is only a tiny aspect of that intelligence. You also realize that all the things that truly matter, beauty, love, creativity, joy, inner peace, but arise from beyond the mind. You begin to awaken.
Freeing yourself from your mind, what exactly do you mean by watching the thinker?
Thank you for asking me. What an excellent question. When someone goes to the doctor and says, "I hear a voice in my head," he or she will most likely be sent to a psychiatrist. The fact is that, in a very similar way, virtually everyone hears voices in their head all the time, the involuntary thought processes. That you don't realize you have the power to stop continuous monologues or dialogues. You have probably come across mad people in the street incessantly talking or muttering to themselves. Well, that's not much different from what you and all other normal people do accept that. You don't do it out loud. The voice comments, speculates, judges, compares, complains, likes, dislikes, and so on. The voice isn't necessarily relevant to the situation you find yourself in at the time. It may be reviving the recent or distant past, or rehearsing or imagining possible future situations. Here it often imagines things going wrong and negative outcomes. This is called worry sometimes. This soundtrack is accompanied by visual images or mental movies. Even if the voice is relevant to the situation at hand, that it will interpret it in terms of the past. This is because the voice belongs to your conditioned mind, which is the result of all your past history as well as of the collective cultural mindset you inherited. So you see and judge the present through the eyes of the past and get a totally distorted view of it. It is not uncommon for the voice to be a person's own worst enemy. The good news is that you can free yourself from your mind. This is the only true liberation. You can take the first step right now and start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. Pay particular attention to any repetitive thought patterns, those old gramophone records that have been playing in your head perhaps for many years. This is what I mean by watching the thinker, which is another way of saying listen to the voice in your head. Be there as the witnessing presence. Do not judge or condemn what you hear, for doing so would mean that the same voice has come in again through the back door. You'll soon realize there is the voice. And here I am listening to it, watching it. This I am realization, this sense of your own presence, is not a thought. It arises from beyond the mind. So when you listen to a thought, you are aware not only of the thought, but also of yourself as the witness of the thought. A new dimension of consciousness has come in. As you listen to the thought, you feel a conscious presence, your deeper self behind or underneath the thought. As it were, the thought then loses its power over you and quickly subsides because you are no longer energizing the mind through identification with it. This is the beginning of the end of involuntary and compulsive thinking. When a thought subsides, you experience a discontinuity in the mental stream, a gap of no mind. 8 practice. The sense of stillness and peace will deepen. In fact, there is no end to its depth. You will also feel a subtle emanation of joy arising from deep within the joy of being. It is not a trance-like state. Not at all. There is no loss of consciousness here. The opposite is the case. If the price of peace were a lowering of your consciousness, and the price of stillness a lack of vitality and alertness, then they would not be worth having. In this state of inner connectedness, you are much more alert, more awake than in the mind-identified state. You are fully present. It also raises the vibrational frequency of the energy field that gives life to the physical body. As you go more deeply into this realm of no-mind, pure Kansintatstat, you feel your own presence with such intensity and such joy that all thinking, all emotions, your physical body, as well as the whole external world, become relatively insignificant in comparison to it. And yet this is not a selfish but a selfless state. It takes you beyond what you previously thought of as yourself. That presence is. essentially you, and at the same time ein sonst bly. Greater than you. That presence is essentially you, and at the same time inconceivably greater than you. What I am trying to convey here may sound paradoxical or even contradictory, but there is no other way that I can express it.
You previously used the word being. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Great question. Being is the eternal, ever-present, one life beyond the myriad forms of life that are subject to birth and death. However, being is not only beyond but also deep within every form as its innermost invisible and indestructible essence. This means that it is accessible to you now as your own deepest self, your true nature. But don't seek to grasp it with your mind. Don't try to understand it. You can know it only when the mind is still, when you are present, when your attention is fully and intensely in the now. Being can be felt, but it can never be understood mentally.
When you say being, are you talking about God? If you are, then why don't you say it?
The word God has become empty of meaning through thousands of years of misuse. I use it sometimes, but I do so sparingly. By misuse, I mean that people who have never even glimpsed the realm of the sacred, the infinite vastness behind that word, use it with great conviction as if they knew what they are talking about. The word God has become a closed concept. The moment the word is uttered, a mental image is created. No longer, perhaps, of an old man with a white beard, but still a mental representation of someone or something outside you. And, yes, almost inevitably, a male someone or something. Neither God nor being, nor any other word can define or explain the ineffable reality behind the word, so the only important question is whether the word is a help or a hindrance in enabling you to experience. Does it point beyond itself to that transcendental reality, or does it lend itself to easily to becoming no more than an idea in your head that you believe in, a mental idol? The word being explains nothing, but nor does God. However, being has the advantage that it is an open concept. It does not reduce the infinite, invisible to a finite entity. It is impossible to form a mental image of it. Nobody can claim exclusive possession of being. It is your very essence, and it is immediately accessible to you as the feeling of your own presence, the realization, I am that is prior to I am this or I am that. So it is only a small step from the word being to the experience of being.
So, what is the greatest obstacle to experiencing this reality?
That is the problem. Identification with your mind, which causes thought to become compulsive. Not to be able to stop thinking is a dreadful affliction. But we don't realize this because almost everybody is suffering from it, so it is considered normal. This incessant mental noise prevents you from finding that realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being. It also creates a false mind-made self that casts a shadow of fear and suffering. In general, thinking has become a disease. Disease happens when things get out of balance. For example, there is nothing wrong with cells dividing and multiplying in the body, but when this process continues, in disregard of the total organism, cells proliferate and we have disease.
As we learned from today's story, the present moment is all we truly have. Keep improving your English one day at a time.
And don't forget to enjoy the process. I hope you enjoyed this story from the Power of Now and learned some useful English along the way. Remember, learning English is a journey, so stay present, keep practicing. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lesson.